How's it going, everybody? This is Cameron White with White Light Astrology, giving you guys your weekly forecast of what the heck is going on in the universe. Thank you guys so much for liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing, whatever else you can do with my videos. I appreciate you all being here, and I got a lot to talk about, and we have not a lot of time to talk about it because we can talk about this for hours and hours and hours. But this is, if you watched a couple of my videos in the past, I'm telling everybody, Mercury retrograde kind of started 2018. The first couple months are kind of like, what do we do? What's going on? Don't really know. Now that Mercury's retrograde and with what's going on this week, 2018 is finally going to start coming alive. Like, all the colors are going to be saturated, if that's the best way to put it. Starting out, just to go day by day for you guys, tomorrow as we go into Monday, the moon's going to be going into Leo. Now as the moon goes into Leo, it is going to start trining that sun, and it is going to also trine Mercury, because Sun and Mercury are now starting to conjunct again. So as Mercury goes retrograde and starts to conjunct the sun again, this is when that Mercury retrograde is really going to start, I don't want to say like hitting you if it hasn't already, but you're going to start wearing that energy a little bit more. It is going to be a little, it's kind of like, I use the sun as a reference to like the spotlight or like the flashlight. And as the Mercury conjuncts the sun, it starts to go underneath the beams again. That's where that energy is going to really be brought to light, brought to fruition a lot more than it has been in the past couple days. Apologize for the wind. I wanted to get the spot again though. However, as this happens, Mercury is still going to be squaring Saturn. It's still going to be squaring Mars. So don't let this dampen that moon and Leo energy. We're going to feel very excited starting Monday. It's going to feel very powerful. If you are in your shit, the best thing that you can do for yourself is not be hard on yourself. Keep doing what you need to be doing with this Mars and Saturn starting to conjunct. That's happening at the end of this week, especially with the full moon. This build up to this weekend is very, very crucial. So as the moon goes into Leo on the Monday, celebrate it, enjoy it, wear it. You know, this past Sunday today, as I'm recording this, we had the moon go into Cancer, and it was, you know, trining Neptune and Jupiter, opposing Pluto, squaring Mercury and Venus. So it could have been a lot to take in. It could have been a lot, you know, to let yourself become vulnerable. It just could have been a lot. However, as this moon goes into Leo, celebrate, get excited, wear that energy. We have a lot going on this week. So don't get too bummed out, because on Tuesday, the moon's going to conjunct the North Node. It's going to trine Venus, it's going to trine Uranus, it's going to trine Mercury. It is going to square Jupiter, and Mercury finally actually goes backwards. I mean, he's been going backwards now because he's been retrograde, but he finally goes back into 15 degrees. So we're starting to see that Mercury retrograde actually start to make some reverse movement, is the best way to put it. However, on Tuesday, once the moon conjuncts the North Node and it trines Venus, trines Uranus, trines Mercury, these new ideas that we're getting with Mercury retrograde, this new way of seeing things, this new way of going about things, you know, with Mars and Saturn and Capricorn right now, it's all about what are we doing. And, you know, if you watched my Saturn and Capricorn video, it's all about what's the most efficient and effective way to get things done? Where do you need to create more structure? Where do you need to take down structures in your life that you've built up that don't work anymore? And where do you need to restructure yourself? And as Mars conjuncts Saturn, which is going to be happening at the end of this week, this is the time to start to take action on that. Now, on Tuesday, as the moon conjuncts the North Node and trines this Venus, Uranus, and Mercury stuff going on, feel that empowerment of where you need to be going. What direction do you need to be taking yourself? And as the moon goes in Leo and conjuncts the North Node, you could get a little bit, you know, ballsy and cocky is the best way to put it. Yeah, that's good. Don't go overboard with it. I tell everyone, don't go overboard with too much of anything. However, as this moon conjuncts the North Node, feel that power and that passion inside of you with your emotions. I mean, as the moon goes into Leo, I mean, have some pride, have some, you know, passion to put into your life. And it's conjuncting the North Node. Like, we're going to figure out where we need to be going, where we need to be taking all of this energy in. And it's trining Mercury, it's trining Venus, it's trining Uranus. It's going to be very liberating, very self-empowering is the best way to put this, especially just because of all this Aries energy. Now, then we go into Wednesday and Thursday. Now, Wednesday and Thursday are going to be our two minuscule days is the best way to put it, because Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I mean, the gates are open. We're starting to actually see some stuff happen. However, on Wednesday, the moon's going to go into Virgo, and Venus is going to conjunct Uranus, and it's going to be trining Mars and the moon. Now, as the moon goes into Virgo, this is where it's going to start becoming, okay, what do we really need to be fixing? What do we need to be working on? Where is this? I don't want to say the word healing, but you're going to see a lot of problems start to arise, and you're going to feel that emotionally, especially as Mercury's retrograde now. So with this moon in Virgo, it can be very easy to overanalyze everything. It can be very easy to stress yourself out, get anxiety attacks. This is not, I mean, I don't want to say this is not the time to do that. Sometimes you can't control that. However, if you're in that space this week, simmer down, take a step back. Mercury's retrograde. This isn't about things falling apart. This is the opportunity, and this is the okay time to mess things up. This is the okay time to do something different and to, you know, try again. If you fail at something, it's okay. It's a Mercury retrograde. Nothing is set in stone right now. This is the opportunity for us to really go backwards, take a step back, look at what else we can do, look at, you know, other options, especially with this in Aries. How can we perceive, how can we look at things differently? Because Aries is all about that self, all about I, and Mercury in Aries, it can be very easy to get caught in your own shit, basically. And as Mercury goes retrograde, don't be so hard on yourself. Take a step back from you and your perception and what affects you. Take a step back from that for a second and go, okay, does this work anymore? Does this not work? Is this what is going to work best for me? And go from there. However, as the moon goes into Virgo, it's going to trine Mars, it's going to trine Saturn. That's going to be the time to where, if you really want to build up that structure stuff I was talking about, you know, where do you need to be, I guess, focused on? This moon in Virgo is going to be a great time to really organize, detail, plan, you know, nourish your body. I love using that word nourishment lately. I don't know why. However, Wednesday as well, Venus conjuncts Uranus. This is the kind of kickoff, and even though I said Wednesday and Thursday are kind of minuscule, this is going to be kind of fun because Venus conjuncting Uranus is literally going to be so liberating. I mean, Uranus is all about extreme ups and downs. This is about liberation, freedom, rebellion, anarchy. It is one of the more outer planets, so this isn't going to be something that you feel so personally. However, with Venus conjuncting Uranus, where we take our self-value, our self-worth, what we're determined to do, Venus in Aries is like, I always use the reference of G.I. Jane. It's like, she's all about it, trying to be with the dudes and do whatever that they can do. Not saying, you know, women can't do what men do, but that's that Venus and Aries energy of taking on that feminine energy and trying to mask it with masculine, you know, looking for something that it needs, something that it values. Now, as Venus conjuncts Uranus, this is the time to let go, because Venus and Aries can get a little bit possessive with how things are supposed to be and how things are supposed to be affecting with you. Now, if you're dealing with stuff in relationships, this is the time to really change something. This is the time to liberate yourself. This is the time to, I hate using that word empower because it's so buzzy and triggery, but step into your home. Like, it's kind of like if you're at a party at someone else's home, you're going to be, you know, respectful, you don't know what to do, you know, kind of like, you know, timid. But if it's at your house, you're going to rage, because if you get messed up or whatever, you can just pass out and it's your home. It's totally okay. As Venus conjuncts Uranus, though, step into your possession, step into your value of who you want to be, of who you think that you can be. Work towards that. It is going to be conjunct, it's not going to be conjunct, it's going to be trining Saturn and Mars. This is the time to really take yourself to that next level. Go, okay, what am I worth? What am I valuing about myself? And what am I willing to do to get that? Now, Uranus is going to make this a little bit of a, best way to put it is very triggering. Uranus really likes to stir the pot, and Uranus is also very unpredictable. So use this to your advantage. If you're feeling some type of way Wednesday, go for it. Go with the energy. I always tell, just go with the energy. Feel it, experience it, don't resist it, because what you resist persists, and then you're just going to be dealing with this stuff more and more as time goes on. However, as Venus conjuncts Uranus, liberate yourself. Do it. Just fucking do it. Wednesday's an awesome, awesome day. Then Thursday, Moon's going to sextile Jupiter, it's going to trine Pluto, and it is going to oppose Neptune. So the best way to put Thursday is it's going to be a lot of planning. It's going to be take your time. This isn't, you know, after Venus conjuncts Uranus, you're going to be like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do all this stuff and blah, 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 blah. But as the Moon is in Virgo, sextiles Jupiter, trines Pluto, opposes Neptune, this is very slow, minuscule work. This is really looking at the big picture and finding out where you can invest your emotions to, especially with Mercury retrograde, which is ruled by, Mercury's ruled by Virgo. So we have the moon going right there. So we have our emotions very much tapped and in tuned with Mercury. Let yourself go, okay, what do I need to be doing? What do I need to believe? What am I willing to transform? Now, as it trines Pluto, this is going to be kind of like a, I don't want to say a wrecking ball. This isn't like, it's not the worst thing at all ever. You got the most closest, you know, astrological body near us, like the moon, and then we have Pluto, which is way, way, way out there. However, as this happens, go, what do you need to change? What do you need to focus on? What needs to get done? And as it sextiles Jupiter, you know, this goes back to, what do we really believe? What is that truth that we have? And as it's retrograding, this isn't about going, you know, I believe this and this and that. It's about going, okay, well, what do I believe? Is this my truth? Is this what I'm in alignment with? Is this what I'm willing to put my all into? Now, Friday, Venus hits 29 degrees Aries. Chiron hits 29 degrees Aries. The moon goes into Libra, which starts the full moon, and it's going to be squaring Saturn and Mars. This full moon, at the end of this weekend, is so intense. Now, Venus hits 29 degrees Aries. That's going to be, the best way to put it is, are you willing to take responsibility for the way that you value yourself? If you really look at yourself through a certain perception, are you willing to take on that personal responsibility of making that real? If you really value these certain things about who you are and what you can do with other people or what you do for other people, are you willing to be personally responsible for what that creates? That's both the negative and the positive. Of course, with Venus, this is going to be more of the positive aspect, but take on that role of personal responsibility. Take on, you know, what do you want to create? What do you want to feel? Where do you, like, you know, how do you want to live? What do you want? And take that responsibility of making sure that it happens. Don't, no ifs, ands, and buts this week, guys. No ifs, ands, and buts. Do it. As Chiron hits 29 degrees Pisces, I will be doing a Chiron and Aries video, and I'll probably do a couple more as time goes on, because Chiron's going to be in Aries for 10 years. However, as Chiron hits that 29 degrees Pisces, this is like that last subconscious spiritual healing that we need. It's going to be there for, I think, another like 2 or 3 weeks, because I believe it goes into Aries on the 17th. However, I got to double check that. Anyway, as Chiron hits 29 degrees, you know, Pisces, heal yourself. Like, this is the last call for, what do we have going on in our subconscious? What are we really scared of? What are we avoidant of? Where are we lost in our emotions? And do the work that's going to heal yourself. And it's not necessarily like, oh, changing habits in your life. It's getting deep. Like, I'm not the biggest, you know, woo, astrologer, like, you know, oh, you got to meditate and blah, blah, blah. But this Chiron at 29 degrees Pisces, go find yourself. Go to your subconscious. Go meditate. Go get deep with who you are. Talk to your higher self. Talk to your guides, whatever it is that you do. To experience that healing. This is closing. This is ending. Because as Chiron goes into Aries, that's the beginning of a whole new Chiron cycle. That's the beginning of a whole new fresh energy of where we need to be healed, where we need to be focusing on, and all that kind of good stuff. Moon is going to go into Libra, begins the full moon, so now we have the moon going to Libra going, what are my options? Where do I need to be focusing on? You know, there's this, there's that. It could be really indecisive. It's going to be really up in your face for a little while. Only on Friday, though, because it is going to square Saturn and Mars. So as it squares Saturn and Mars, don't get too indecisive. Keep doing what you're doing. The biggest thing for this moon in Libra is just balance yourself out as much as you can on Friday, because Saturday is going to be completely different. Venus will go into Taurus on Saturday, and then the full moon in Libra will be exact. So with the moon being in Libra, as Venus is at 29 degrees Aries, that's where a lot of the frustration is going to come from. But the second Venus goes into Taurus, where she loves, oh my God, Venus and Taurus, like we could throw a party about that. Bust out the wine, you know, get your friends over, have a good time, celebrate. You know, what do you value? What are you resourceful of? What do you want to create? What's your passion? Like, what are the nicer things that you want? And as Venus goes into Taurus, ground yourself in that energy of what you experience with Venus and Aries, of really valuing who you are and what you want. And as it goes into Venus and Taurus, create that. Make that happen. Make that real. You have the resources. You have the energy. Don't get too stubborn. Don't get too, you know, don't control or, you know, try to hold on to what things are supposed to look like. Let them naturally happen. This is Venus and Taurus. And as the full moon in Libra happens, that's basically like, what's the best way to put that? As this full moon happens, yeah, Venus will be in Taurus, so the moon in Libra will be a lot happier. It's in a hard T-square with the sun in between Mars and Saturn. And they're not conjunct just yet. That will happen on Sunday, which is more of the, I guess, where all of this is going to kind of end up. As this squares Mars and Saturn, if you are still in resistance to letting the structures that you've created in your life, I don't want to say fall apart, but if you watched my last week's video, I told everyone, you know, hey, it's kind of like code enforcement came to your house and they were like, this is too much. We got to take this building down. And you got to do it. You can resist that all you want, but there's something that you've got to have responsibility for. There's something that you've got to find within your integrity in order to do. And as this full moon happens, what do you need to balance out? Where can you focus on the relationship that you have with yourself, the relationship that you have with other people? What do you value? Where are you ready to get, the best way to put it is fair. Do what's fair, do what's right, do what's just, get it done. This Mars and Saturn conjunct on Sunday, you ain't gonna miss it. It's gonna happen, with or without your consent. So as this full moon happens, do what's right. Do what you feel. And as it squares Mars and Saturn, make sure you're putting in the work. Don't get too frustrated with yourself. Don't, just because things are falling apart, just because things are changing, just because you're really having to put in some hard ass work right now, like, things could be good, things could be bad, but either way, whether it's good or bad for you right now, we're all working our asses off right now. Everything is going 100. So as that happens, just take that in mind. Really feel this full moon. It's a good time to just step outside and just feel it all. Then on Sunday, Mars and Saturn conjunct, squaring Mercury and the Sun. Moon goes into Scorpio, squaring Pluto. And then Mercury and the Sun conjunct at between 11 and 12 degrees, and then Mercury goes behind the Sun. So literally, Mars and Saturn conjunct, it is gonna feel, if you look at Mars and Saturn conjunct, most of the time it's very limiting, very crushing, bad. But they're both in Capricorn. Like, this is a good Mars and Saturn conjunction. This is a powerful Mars and Saturn conjunction. If you really want to redo or restructure or reshape or create something that's bold and real, do it on this Mars and Saturn conjunction. Let yourself take away the bullshit. Get real, get simple, because this is Capricorn is simple energy. It's not complicated like Aquarius or even Sagittarius. It's very simple. What do you need to build? What do you need to create? What do you need to do? And as Mercury goes behind the Sun, we are in full retrograde. We are now starting to really think internally. We are now starting to understand what needs to be done differently. And that's what I got for you guys this week. It's going to be a kick-ass week. I hope all of you are ready, because I know you all are ready. So I'm sending you guys a ton of love, ton of light, ton of abundance, ton of energy. I love every single one of you. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. Follow my Twitter. I talk about astrology all day long because I love Twitter. Follow me at White Light Cam. And I got some bigger announcements coming up very soon for you guys, so please stay tuned. Thank you guys so much again, and I'll be seeing you next week.